Hi, welcome to Module 3. In Module 3, we're going to talk about the law firm setup and the setting up of the law firm operations and management. The first part is going to be about the initial setup and registration of your law firm. There's several things that you need to consider. First would be selecting your business entity. There are different options, and each option has its pros and cons that needs to be considered when you're making a choice. It can be, you can be a sole proprietor, it can be a partnership, a general partnership, a limited partnership, a professional corporation, an LLC. Now, each of those business entities have different requirements and different registration processes. Some are a lot more complicated than others, but they give you more protection um, against liability. And this is something that needs to be kept in mind when you're determining which entity type it would be best suited for your type of firm and for your future goals. And for example, if you're a professional corporation, there's going to be much higher requirements as to your malpractice insurance that you have to carry. So it's going to be a bigger expense initially. So, for example, in California, it's usually double or triple what is required for a sole proprietor or a limited partner. And that's something that you need to keep in mind. It's something that you might end up doing anyway for the type of cases you're handling, but for other practice areas it might not be necessary because carrying a $5 million insurance policy might be overkill for other practice areas, while for certain practice areas that's the bare minimum and you're most likely going to get a much higher insurance policy. So a professional corporation might be a better choice. There are also different registration requirements that a corporation you would require to have your articles of incorporation. You need to keep your meeting minutes. You need to file annual updates and such and stuff like that. So all of this need to be taken into consideration when you are starting your firm, and we would walk you through all of those requirements and help you find something that would be the most beneficial for your particular situation. Um, Now, keep in mind, here at LegalSoft Magic Law Group, we're also offering a practice setup as a separate service that you can get where we can help you. It's usually for the first 3 months that will help you get your firm up and running, take care of all the registration and setup. But that would be a very limited kind of help you get off the ground. Where in incubation, it's a much more complex and much more involved process when we're not just setting up your firm, we're becoming a partner and an investor in your firm. So we're the ones who are helping you with all the costs, with all the expenses for setting up, with all the fees, all the initial expenses that your firm has to incur, all the staffing costs. So we are becoming, in essence, a partner in your law firm. And we share all the financial burdens of working your firm, having the firm operate. So, but at this point, we're going to continue discussing the steps that are needed to set up your law firm. Sole proprietorship is when an attorney is the only one practicing law, and the attorney is practicing under his or her own name. So, for example, in my case, it would be Maria Furman, attorney at law. I'm a sole proprietor. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to register it as a company, as a brand name. I still need to obtain my tax ID. I still need to carry malpractice insurance, but it's basically just me personally practicing law, which any attorney is qualified to do once they pass the bar. When you have a partner, now then you have to register it as a partnership. It's a simpler registration. There are different registration forms that you fill out. If you have a partnership that uh, is basically just the names of the partners without anything else, then it's a simpler application process. It's a lower fee. If you want to have a name for the partnership that does not involve the names of the actual attorneys listed in the name of it, so that would be an additional form that usually additional forms, additional steps that need to be taken in order to register the partnership. Now, keep in mind, each state has their own requirement, and most of those requirements and forms can be found on the state bar website of each state. So I would suggest that you go and do the research for your particular state as to what are the requirements to register the specific entity that you need. If you want to set up a professional corporation, that is a slightly more complicated process because you need to file your articles of incorporation and everything else that involves in that. Also, the name of the corporation, and once again, each state bar website would have the detailed forms and instructions on how to file it. So take a look at that, and there are more fees associated with it. The benefits between having a professional corporation versus a sole proprietorship is the liability. Um, Obviously, the attorneys can never hide behind any malpractice allegations, behind any like corporate formation. But in general, anything like a general liability, for example, somebody slips and falls in your office, breaks a leg, they're going to be suing the corporation, not the attorney personally. If it's just you personally working out of an office as a sole proprietor, you are the one personally liable for everything that, for any claims that could be brought against your firm and you personally. If you have a professional corporation, this is a certain layer of defense between you and any potential claims, because all of those claims would be brought against the corporation first. And it would take extra additional steps, as in corporate law, as you know, to pierce the corporate veil to actually get to the attorney personally and to go after the attorney personally.